Tulsi Gabbard is a Democratic member of Congress from Hawaii, the first female combat veteran ever to run for president, and she joins us tonight.
Aloha, Tucker.
Congresswoman, as you say. Thanks a lot for joining us. So you're someone else who's taken an enormous amount of heat, an enormous amount of criticism, I can't overstate it, for asking skeptical questions about our policy toward Syria. How do you assess this leaked document? What does it make you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a significant and very important development we've got to take seriously. As you mentioned, I initially expressed some skepticism around that whole situation, which is why I am getting more information, reaching out to the UN, reaching out to the OPCW, and getting answers. And when I get those answers, I look forward to coming back and sharing them with you and with your viewers.
So we're hearing again, even this week, that we may need to bomb Syria yet again because there may be yet another chemical weapons attack. So there'll be 3 years in a row, always in the spring, and always within the context of some other international question. I'm beginning to suspect that we're being played here. Has that occurred to you?
Once again, I mean, this is why doing our due diligence and checking very carefully the evidence is so important. I want to bring up another issue that is extremely important to the American people right now, and that is something that should concern all of us, which is the fact that we're at the brink of a war with Iran. I can tell you, as a soldier, I've served over 16 years in the Army National Guard. I've deployed twice to the Middle East. I know very well both the Middle East as well as the cost of war. And as a member of Congress on the Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees for over 6 years, I know where this path leads us. And I'm concerned because the American people don't seem to be prepared for how devastating and costly such a war would be. It would undermine our national security, because right now we have troops who are deployed to Iraq, for example, and right now they're working with both Iraqi soldiers as well as the Shia militia on the ground, and their mission is to defeat ISIS, to try to make sure that ISIS doesn't reconstitute itself and re-emerge there in Iraq. If we go to war with Iran, all of that changes, because then the United States, our troops, my brothers and sisters in uniform, are fighting against the Shia militia. Who knows what the Iraqi military is going to do? Maybe some go with us and fight alongside our troops. Maybe some fight against us and fight alongside the Shia militia. And so what we're facing is essentially a war that has no front lines, total chaos, engulfs the whole region, is not contained within Iran or Iraq, but would extend to Syria and Lebanon and Israel, across the region, setting us up in a situation where in Iraq, we lost over 4,000 of my brothers and sisters in uniform. A war with Iran would take far more American lives. It would cost more civilian lives across the region. It would worsen the refugee crisis, with millions of people fleeing into Europe, further destabilizing there. What to speak of the fact that this would cost trillions of taxpayer dollars coming out of our pockets, to go and pay for this endless war that begs the question, especially as a soldier, what are we fighting for? What does victory look like? What is the mission? So,
and what's the benefit to the United States? So, as far as I can tell, this is being pushed primarily by one man, the National Security Advisor, John Bolton. The President has said repeatedly he's not interested in fighting a war with Iran. Bolton clearly is. So how does the United States, if this happens, how do we benefit from this? Is there an upside that you can see?
We don't. And that's the bottom line. That's what's so concerning, is even as people in the administration say, hey, look, we don't want to go to war against Iran, you look at people like John Bolton and Mike Pompeo and others within the administration who have talked about waging regime change war against Iran for a very long time. They have stated their intent and made their objective very clear. Your question is the most essential one. How does a war with Iran serve the best interests of the American people in the United States? And the fact is, it does not. It better serves the interests of people like Bibi Netanyahu and Saudi Arabia, who are trying to push us into this war with Iran. Again, a war that would undermine our national security in the ways that I talked about. It would strengthen terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. It would carry a heavy human cost, and it would cost us taxpayers trillions of dollars. Forget about investing in rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. Forget about having the resources that we need for things like healthcare, education, affordable housing. We wouldn't have those resources because this would go towards yet another extremely devastating, costly war with Iran.
Yes. I think if you were to poll on that question, and it is polled, you would find that what you just said has overwhelming support with voters in both parties, not just your party, the Democratic Party, but with Republicans as well. And yet I predict with certainty that you will be attacked for saying what you just did. And that tells you everything. Tulsi Gabbard, running for president from the state of Hawaii. Great to see you tonight. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you, Tucker. Aloha.
Aloha.